Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Big Damn Cast, episode 007. What better time for us to sit down, light up a cigarette, have a vodka martini, shaken not stirred, and talk about the one, the only
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, we don't even like James Bond that much.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably count on one hand the James Bond films I actually like.
I mean, they're all right.
GoldenEye, From Russia with Love, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which I think I'm alone in. But I really
Skiffle's
like
great.
that. Skiffle?
Skiffle's good.
Skiffle? Skiffle Ball.
Yeah.
Spelunking. Spelunking's good.
I enjoyed Spectre when I watched it, but I think it's one of those movies I've soured on it the longer it's been since I've watched it. Just like Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're going to unload some DC beef this week. We've got some big stinky beef with DC. We want to talk about it. We feel like a therapy session is in order. We feel like some of you may also want to lay out your stinky DC beef, and you know, we're gonna use our mouths to do what we can to make it feel better. But we've got a few other things we want to.
That was
talk
disgusting.
About a little bit, yeah. But there's a few other things we want to touch on before then. Matthew, see, you're the dirty-minded one, darling.
What have we got?
My mother warned me of your ilk. What have we got on the menu this week? What things do you want to talk about?
Not a great deal. No, loads of stuff happened actually.
We're done. Bye.
No. So yeah, we're gonna get into some Suicide Squad stuff, and there's some news stories surrounding that we'll get into in a minute.
Yeah. And also your opinions as well. We asked you guys out there on the old Twitter sphere to tell us what you think of the DCEU so far, and also just a reminder, because a lot of you get in touch with us on Twitter and everything on YouTube. But if you do ever want to get in touch with Big Damn Cast, and you want to write more than 140 characters, then bigdamcontact@gmail.com is the best place to do it. If you haven't got any stories for us, or anything nonsense you just want to spill out, if you want to confess to murder, then we are your guys.
You know, Suicide Squad had more than 140 characters.
But not in the script. That doesn't. I mean, in the dialogue.
So many burns.
People didn't say many words.
So many burns.
You could fit all of Jared Leto's lines and actual contribution in a tweet.
I wish I could fit all of Jared Leto in a tweet and send him off
to the moon.
Didn't just delete it.
We should play a cruel joke on him. We should give him 6 months worth of stuff to film, and then only show about half a week of it.
Life's already played many cruel jokes on Jared Leto. That's how he turned out the way he is. Not a great deal. It's not a massive news week this week. Most of the news surrounds the reaction to the Suicide Squad. A couple of new things with the Olympics going on. We've got a new trailer for Doctor Strange, which is basically exactly the same as the old trailer, but it was shown during the Olympics.
So that makes it new, I guess.
Yeah, there's that. But the real one that's got me all excited and hot and bothered is the new Luke Cage trailer. Luke Cage is out next month.
Yeah, we are a month and a half away from it right now.
It's gonna be great.
That's mental. Baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw.
I love it raw.
Oh. Dirty.
But yeah, that show, going off the Netflix's track record with Marvel stuff so far, that show looks pretty damn good.
I'm rewatching Daredevil Series 1 right now because Lou didn't see it. She came in with Jessica Jones and then Series 2 of Daredevil. So we're rewatching Daredevil Series 1. Good God, man. Every episode means something. Like, there's never a lag, really. I think I remember for a call, episode 9 and 10 is where you sort of go, you could have skipped to 11, 12, 13 here. But at the minute, like, we've just done, spoiler alert, like, we've just watched the episode that is basically from Fisk's point of view. So good. And she's terrified of him because, but she's more terrified of her own thoughts. Because she's like, I like him. Like, I understand him and I like him. And I'm terrified of him, but I want him and Vanessa to work out, and I want him to, you know, sort of not become the man his dad was, and oh my god,
the Fitz and Vanessa relationship is really cool. It's really well done, and
it's so sweet.
Yeah, Fitz is Fitz.
Old Fitz.
He's not about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fisk and Vanessa is really a great relationship, and kind of the heart of that character arc. And it really humanises him, which makes the violence and the horror of him more horrifying.
Yeah.
To use
She's
horror
like,
more than
wow,
once
he
in a
will
sentence.
still do these things.
Yeah. It's a really well written show, and all of them have been. People have a beef with the way that Daredevil Season 2 and Jessica Jones dip a little in the middle, but I don't mind it so much because you get plenty of room for the characters. But I wouldn't be averse to these series moving to 10 episodes instead of 13, maybe.
Because also, as horrible as it sounds as well, like, if you chop out 3 episodes, you also get more room with the budget to play around too. So you could have slightly more superhero-esque moments.
Yeah.
Because I think as they go on, they're going to have to up the scale a little.
Escalation, baby.
Yeah, simply because like if they're now going to do the Defenders, they need to like show that they can handle big threats.
Yeah.
Plus, it'd be nice to see a couple supervillains sneak into those shows over time. We've had Kilgrave, but you know, it'd be nice to see like bring in Crusher Creel. Like he popped up in Agents of Shield. Get the
nice.
Absorbing Man in one of the Netflix shows.
Well, power levels are slowly creeping up because you get Daredevil, who's peak human.
Yeah.
With his senses. Then you get Jessica Jones, who's
can kind of fly. It's more like falling.
her superpower is fuck locks.
She can Buzz Lightyear fly.
She doesn't like locks at all.
Yeah, and she can drink like a motherfucker.
Yeah, that's her powers. And then you got
Luke Cage, the bulletproof man.
He's basically indestructible. Well, he's not quite because he gets all jacked up. Like he's like blunt force trauma.
He can be screwed up.
He can be hurt, but he's
it takes a lot.
Well, actually,
you got to drop a bulldozer on him from like 7 stories.
Hurting him badly is worse because he's got unbreakable skin,
so
he's really hard to treat if he does get injured.
Yeah.
Which
was explored in Jessica Jones, which is so.
Yeah.
Let's because I think we're both really excited for Luke Cage. Can we before we even begin, the tiara and the bracelets?
Yeah.
Are in the trailer.
Disco tiara, baby.
They found a way. It's part of the machine. It's part of the experiment. There it is, everybody. You see it. We're not going to have it, probably, throughout the show, but we got the tiara.
What is it?
Only for a scene.
What's the other thing I need from to get in there? I need...
You need a chain at one point. You need to have a chain around his
chain.
waist.
We're definitely going to get some chain
that he takes
action.
off and smacks someone with.
Definitely going to get some chain
Daredevil
action.
teased us with it last season.
We've already had some Sweet Christmas. We've already had Sweet Christmas. What's the other thing I need?
He said that twice in Jessica Jones. He said it once in the cannabis factory and once...
Post-coitus.
They fucked. Super fucked.
I love the way you were just like trying to gingerly mince around that word, around that phrasing. You just got to say it for what it is. They did the beast with 2 backs. She took him down to Bone Town. There's a lot of boning in that show. It was pretty great.
There's a lot of boning in Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
lot of head bopping in Luke Cage by the look of it. The soundtrack is basically old school R&B and like 90s hip hop, and it sounds amazing. I was watching there's a website, but they put highlights from their like video casts on YouTube. A guy's called Double Toasted. Their review of the Luke Cage trailer is brilliant because Corey, the main host, is basically like, I was worried. He's African American. He was like, I was worried that like when people saying this is going to be urban. I hate that word when people describe shows. I hate it. He says because he's like, you know what I mean? What they mean is, oh, it's grungy and it's got poor black people in it, and I hate that. Like they should never do that. Like just say what it is. Say it's a drama about poor people. Say it's a drama about people down there.
Yeah.
Don't say urban. Great. And he was worried when someone said it was basically modern blaxploitation. Because he was like, really? He watched this trailer. He watched the first one. He was like, okay. He watched this one. He went, I'm sold. Wow. He was like, his reaction is so jubilant. He's like, this is brilliant. And he said that it's how you do blaxploitation in the modern era. How you capture that feeling without faking it. He says like Grindhouse, things like that. That's almost fetishized. It's fake. What you need for a blaxploitation show, in the vein of Shaft and things like that. The vein of Shaft. That's the name of the Triple X porn parody. In the vein of Shaft.
The veiny Shaft.
You need. Oh God. You need a city. You need like a Bronx. You need like several blocks that need looking after.
Your average, your bog standard Bronx.
Yeah. You need to.
Typical neighborhood.
You need to represent it in a way that's done. Does it justice? Like, so you need to have the music, like you need to have the like eclectic, like neighborhood. You need to have people of all shapes, colors, creeds, and sizes, and everything being there.
You gotta have a stoop,
but focus on.
You gotta have houses with a stoop.
Focus on the black neighborhood because then that way it's doing something that other dramas don't do as much. Yeah. You're standing out, so you make your area a living, breathing area. You said it there. The second thing is you have a bad motherfucking horrible villain who's dislikable, like arsehole, who basically needs his arse kicked. And then the last thing you need is you need an arse-kicking hero who's going to kick the villain's arse.
Someone go in and kick some ass.
And that is it. He says that's all you need. You need a horrible person, you need the place that he's like, he's treating like shit, and you need the good guy who's going to kick his ass. That's blaxploitation. Don't film grain it. Don't force in, like, R&B and soul and disco and things like that. Don't force it. If you can make it feel natural, do that. But don't force it.
No, natural's always better than forced.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, what are you talking about? You can just put the director's iPod onto a film soundtrack and fill it with all pop hits from the last 30 years, and it will seem completely natural.
This character's an independent woman. Let's play You Don't Own Me.
Except then let's show a montage that shows she's very much owned by someone.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Mixed messaging. Or is it irony? No. No one understands irony.
The ironing is delicious.
We're really excited for Luke Cage.
Yes. Get it in my eyes right now. Or, I've got a few things on. If you could get it in my eyes in a month and a half's time, that'd be great. Think they can arrange that?
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. So yeah, that's kind of the new stuff that's happened this week. Let's get into
some sexy comic booky
some
stuff.
sexy comic book bits.
Well, Dr. Manhattan. I think that's it. That's the list.
Yes.
It's like, here's a man's genitals on the page. Look,
Well,
it's on this page too.
Since DC have been trying to shove movies down my throat, I've been going back and exploring some of their comic stuff that I've missed, and also some of their new Rebirth stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still collating on the Rebirth stuff.
Big words.
But
What do you mean by stuff?
I'm just getting through it. Getting through it. I want to wait till all the one shots are out that set up all the new series.
Yeah.
Because I'm already neck deep into, because they started off with Batman and Superman, obviously. So I'm neck deep in those. I'm up to date on Batman, Detective Comics, Action Comics, Superman, Aquaman.
How is Arthur Curry?
Aquaman is really great, actually. It's really good.
Who's writing him now?
Dan Abnett.
Dan Abnett.
Of Abnett and Lanning, who did all the Marvel Cosmic stuff. He's also a noted site. He's written loads of stuff for the Warhammer novels.
Okay.
40,000 novels. He's
So
been on military sci-fi.
somebody likes to handle lore.
Yeah, he loves his lore.
Which is good for, freaking King of Atlantis.
His Warhammer 40k books are really good. His Gaunt's Ghosts stuff.
Is that how much they cost? That is a joke from someone who doesn't get Warhammer.
Yes.
Oh.
That is how much they got. No,
now I'm worried.
My dad's super into them. I got super into them, and my dad got super into them because he really likes that kind of thing.
You accidentally gave him something to become obsessed with.
Yeah, he kind of likes military sci-fi now, I guess. But that's what it is. But not unlike a. I mean, Space Marines are a thing in 140k, but it's not like Space Marine military sci-fi. It's from the ground level of the ground troops, the Imperial Guard. So it's basically like World War II in space.
Okay.
Or World War One in space, like trench warfare. But so yeah, there's a lot of that.
All
stuff.
of the wars in space.
And it's a more human
Space wars. Oh, there's an idea.
Space wars in space. It'll never catch on.
Starfights. I know we've got a franchise on our hands here.
Oh dear. So yeah, the DC Rebirth stuff is good, but I'm going to talk more in depth about that when it gets, when all of it's out.
When it starts to hit its stride.
Well, I mean, it's already kind of hitting its stride, but there's still a few series to be set up that haven't launched
When
yet.
it's hit its stride, worn its boots out a bit, so bought some new boots for the long run.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty much soon we'll be into all the Watchmen stuff they dropped in that first one shot, the role of Dr. Manhattan in the New 52 and things like that. So that'll be interesting to see where they go with that. But one thing I did read, which I got rather into, was American Alien, the Superman miniseries by Max Landis.
Isn't it beautiful?
Which you've been going on at me for ages about.
I got it as it came out, and I was just like, it was because I'm sort of watching the pennies at the minute, so I'm not rushing to the comic book store weekly. I'll go once a month and maybe go, I'll pick that up and I'll read that. And Amazing Spider-Man's my soap opera. I think I'm an issue behind, actually. Damn!
I gotta watch my show!
And Ninth Doctor Who story is my soap opera. Again, I need to catch up on my stories.
I gotta watch my stories.
But for a while, American Alien was my highlight. That was the one I wanted to pick up every month. Basically, for those who don't know, it's 7 stories from different points in the life of Clark Kent.
Oh, like early life of Clark Kent, really though.
Yeah, all of them happen from like age 5 up to about a year into him being Superman.
Yeah.
And they are like Max Landis summed them up once as these are 7 stories Clark would tell you about himself over a beer. So he's just picked 7 things to talk about, and they chronologically go through. You know, they happen chronologically, and the first one, for example, is young child Clark during the period where he starts to float upwards and doesn't really know what to do or whether he can control it, and how Jonathan and Martha Kent deal with it, and how they help him come to terms with it. It's just the sweetest damn thing. It feels like the short film. It feels like if Pixar did DC movies,
Yeah.
the short film before one of them would just be young Clark learning to fly. God, it's so sweet.
I read both that and Birthright this week. I mean, I already read Birthright, but I reread Birthright. And both of them were like, this is better versions of what Man of Steel could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, Man of Steel cribbed heavily from Birthright. But
mostly visuals, I think.
Yeah, mostly visuals. Some of the plot, but then... spoilers for Birthright, if you've not read Birthright, go and read it.
It's fucking great.
It's 12 issues, you can get it in one trade paperback. It's
a really nice trade paperback.
I got it when it was on sale from Comixology, so I got like every issue for 99p or 69p or something like that.
Damn.
Always look out for sales on Comixology if you've got a tablet, because they do really good stuff. You can pick up entire runs for like £5 or £6 if we're having a sale on. It's good things like that. So I got that and All-Star Superman in a Superman sale a couple of years back, which was when I first read it.
Really?
Yeah, and it's...
I enjoyed that more on the second read, bizarrely.
All-Star.
All-Star. I really liked
I
it
need
the
to reread
first, but
All-Star.
after the second, I went into it looking at the thematic sort of angle, and I was like, oh god, Grant Morrison, you're insane, but I really like what you're doing.
I really like what he's doing. But the great thing about Birthright is that... So in Birthright, towards the end, what happens is that Lex Luthor uses the kryptonite that he finds to open a time-space portal to old Krypton, and then use that imagery to convince Earth that Superman is the harbinger of an invasion. And then State uses like actors and holograms and like tech made up to look like Kryptonian stuff to stage an invasion, which Superman then has to stop.
Sounds all
so
familiar.
What they did in Man of Steel
Yeah.
was just have Zod invade. And it actually be an army of Kryptonians trying to destroy the world. So it causes way more collateral damage rather than Superman just being like, this isn't right, Lois, go and he's powering it with kryptonite. Go and get the kryptonite so I can turn it off while I hold everyone off. And then she turns it off, and the illusion disappears. There's like 7 people with helmets on. And Superman's like, I'm gonna beat you all up now. I was the good guy all along. Rather than being like, the whole city's falling apart, and I've got to fly into the world engine, and now the Zod's gonna shoot those people, but I'm not just gonna cover his eyes. I have to snap his neck and have to scream. Oh, the first part of it is, I think the first issue in a bit is Clark Kent as a reporter in Africa, and it's when he learns that when he gets the idea that he wants to be something better because he's getting there's like a tribal dispute in Africa, and
I love that
it's
section.
really good.
I love that section so much because by the end of it I forgot I was reading a Superman book.
Yeah,
I was just completely like engrossed in like Clark's dilemma here and the whole like, because it's that thing of like that. I think that was because is Jonathan Kent alive?
Yeah, Jonathan Kent's alive.
Yeah, that was who wrote Birthright? Mark Waid.
That's written by Mark Waid, penciled by Lionel Francis Yu.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Who just has just great, like it's a cartoony style, but the big broad-chested Superman and the triangle-shaped men, and
you feel the weight of the book.
Yeah,
things look like they have a presence, and like their feet are on the ground. These things exist. They look a bit cartoony, but that's because they're just taking your imagination and smacking you around the head with it and going, "These are the things you remember from childhood."
And
but
it makes...
I remember. I think that was his version, like with the conflict of doing the whole. You can't save everyone. Like they didn't have to kill off Pa Kent or anything like that. It's this is their way of going. You can do your absolute best. You won't always save everybody, but that doesn't mean it's not worth it. But that is covered in sort of different angles in American Alien.
They make a really nice companion pieces to each other because they're both kind of origin stories.
Yeah, Although American Alien jumps all over the place. American Alien's more origin stories of Clark learning about himself.
Yeah, and they're absolutely different
and
continuities.
Yeah.
So then they contradict each other, but that's
yeah.
Superman's mythic. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, American Alien and Birthright are those kind of stories where if you want to choose, if you're like, oh, that's how that happened. Fair enough. Yeah. Like you can do that if you want, but other than that, you could just go, oh, these are two very creative people giving two very different takes on the birth of the legend. But American Alien, let's just quickly go issue by issue because good God, I love this book.
It's very good.
So first one is young Clark.
It's very young Clark.
Very young Clark learning to fly, and then at the end of it, I don't want to say too much because I want you guys to read it. That's the best way to experience it. But
7 issues. Look out for a Comixology sale if you're strapped for cash.
Yeah,
it's real good.
Or here you go, pick up issue 1 if there's no sale on it. Pick up issue 1 on Comixology or on the DC app, or go out and find it if you can. If you really like the tone of it, stick it on your Amazon wish list, the whole paperbacks, or ask people for Christmas, someone get me American Alien, and treat yourself at the end of the year, because it's just gorgeous. I've not read it in one sitting, so you've had a different experience.
Yeah, it's really good.
Issue 2 is teenage years.
Yeah, and it's his first sort of
like physical confrontation with someone,
and also like just learning how much damage he can do with his powers, even when he's kind of trying. Like how much restraint he has to have to avoid just
that book sums up just how like delicate Clark is. It makes you realise that later in life, obviously it's a little easier because it's more muscle memory later in life, but he has to be gentle.
Yeah,
like picking up a person, he's got to treat that like he was picking up a freaking like feather.
It all kind of goes back to
you have to be careful because if you don't, you're gonna break their bones. You're gonna throw somebody instead of push them.
It all kind of goes back to the cardboard world speech from Justice League.
Yes. Oh man. And also you get the hint that all of Smallville is aware of what you can do.
Yeah, so they can't, but he's one of us.
Yeah, but it's that small town mentality of like we look out for each other, so no one's ever gonna say anything. Which plays up really nice later on when a couple of his mates visit and they're like, is that you? Like, we're seeing on the TV, we're like, that's Clark, isn't it? It's like, oh my God. Which one's issue 3? Issue 3 is the boat party.
Which is so out of left field.
Oh, it's amazing.
But brilliant. So
it's technically the first Batman-Superman story without being a story about Batman and Superman.
Well, no, because Batman doesn't turn up until the next issue.
No, Batman's not in it, but Bruce Wayne, unquote, is in it.
So what happens with this issue is Clark somehow wins a holiday.
The cover to that one's amazing, just like, hey, chilling on the boat.
He wins a holiday, but the plane crashes on the way down to the holiday, and he just happens to get picked up by Bruce Wayne's party yacht and mistaken for Bruce Wayne staging a grand entrance.
Because he sort of has a similar appearance, and a lot of people at the party have admitted, I don't think I've ever actually seen Bruce Wayne.
As he's told by Oliver Queen, who's of course at this party.
Yes!
Bruce never comes to his own parties. So, it's like... Who is the girl in that? Is she supposed to be Barbara Gordon?
Not Barbara Gordon. She is someone. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. Not Starfire. I can't remember who it is. You'd have to. I will get on it. You describe the beautiful things of that issue because that is essentially the story of Clark's first kiss.
Yeah,
and like
first kiss and more besides.
His first night of like sort of sexual liberation and everything.
I think she's supposed to be Starfire.
He's completely a gentleman, but he's also drunk as feck.
I think she's supposed to be Starfire because she mentions. She doesn't seem like weirded out by the whole aliens thing, and I think she kind of hints that she's.
I'm gonna have to find out.
Unusual as well.
I know she's someone, and I'm really annoyed for not remembering. Oh no, hang on. I think I might be wrong. I think she might be Cheetah. Yeah.
Oh, she's Cheetah.
Yeah, it's Barbara Minerva.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
Oh my God.
All right.
But she's amazing. And then again, we won't go into all the details, but that night on the yacht, an assassination attempt on Bruce Wayne's life is made.
It doesn't go well for the assassin.
No, who I would love to see another Superman book penned by Max Landis just to see what his reaction is.
Yeah.
If those characters meet again, so we could be like, "It was you." Oh my God! Because the conclusion to that book, it's like the quickest fight ever. It's so good, but it's also brilliant because it's a Superman book, but it world builds Batman. It shows that late teens, early 20s Batman is out there training somewhere, but Alfred or someone is still staging like parties and get-togethers at Wayne Manor and on the boat and like at these beaches. saying that Bruce Wayne's the one inviting everybody, and then everybody gets there and gets so drunk they don't care.
Nope.
They don't care that they can't find him.
It is
they don't give
hedonism.
Because I mean, there's Oliver Queen. Like, oh my god, let's go meet him, and like no one gives a damn. It's
And how?
so cool. It's I love that. Issue 4.
Is that the one where he meets Lex?
Yes, I think. Is it?
Yeah, because issue 4 he meets Lex.
Is it issue 4 where Clark meets Lex? It's not Superman.
Issue 4 Clark meets Lex.
Because issue 4's got that amazing cover where it's all those people.
No, that's issue 6.
Is that issue 6?
Yeah.
Oh Christ, what's
issue
4's
4?
cover?
I'm not sure what
I'm blank spotting on issue 4.
Issue 4 is the one where he meets Lex.
Yes.
Issue 5 is...
Is issue 4 he meets Lex and interns at the Daily Planet?
And meets Batman.
Yeah, who attacks him in his apartment because he's like found out info from years back and stuff, hasn't he?
Because then issue 5 he has the cowl.
Yes. Superman's first costume comes from him nicking Right. Slight spoiler for issue 4.
Issue 6 is his friends coming to visit him, and then issue 7 is his first contact.
Yes. Oh God, sorry, I've got to talk about.
Yeah, I'm just making it straight in our heads.
I have to talk about the Batman moment.
It's amazing. 4. It's really good.
So, and it's about the yacht, isn't it? So it's like several years later.
Yeah.
And Batman
because before
found
he meets
out who he is somehow eventually.
After he meets Lex, but before Batman finds him, he meets Dick Grayson.
Yes, he does.
And you see Batman watching him talking to Dick Grayson.
Yes. Oh yeah, because Dick Grayson
about how weird.
Dick Grayson's sort of been left in like the super genius daycare thing.
Yeah.
Lex caught by Bruce.
And it's how weird. And
Dick is, if he's not already Robin, he's about to become Robin.
He talks about analysing Clark. He's in a monologue.
Because that's the first time where you get like someone else's kind of like in a monologue as well.
You see Dick's in a monologue.
You know that's there just because Nightwing's Max Lance's favourite DC character.
Loves Nightwing.
He's I'm putting young Dick Grayson in this book.
You see he's in a monologue analysing Clark, wanting to impress Bruce because then Bruce will take him out with him at night.
Yes.
He's like, if I can get this right, if I can't work this stuff out, Bruce isn't going to take me out with him. So he wants to. He's not Robin yet, but he wants to be Robin.
And if I remember correctly as well in that book, Lex comes across not as a villain, but just as a bit of a dickhead.
He's completely immoral.
He's just a douchebag.
Absolutely amoral. Just does not care. But
there doesn't appear to be any villainous deeds going on.
No, he's not like
he's Richard Branson. If Richard Branson was a twat, basically.
Tell me, Superman.
Because he treats Clark like, what are you? Who are you? You don't matter to me. But then you get this brilliant moment where Clark goes back to his apartment and Batman's there, and I think he like flips Superman over his shoulder or something, doesn't he? Like sort of like tackles him or something.
He comes up behind him and smashes Clark's face into his laptop while he's transcribing all the interview stuff.
Because this is early Batman as well, they're implying, but he's too reckless. And he's like, you were on that yacht or whatever, like why were you pretending to be Bruce Wayne?
Why are you pretending to be Bruce Wayne?
So Clark just grabs his mask and rips it off.
It's like,
and Batman's reaction is just because he's doing a cape and cowl just in one movement of being
Batman
torn off of it.
Turns into Tim Allen and just goes,
It's tool time. And he just once he does he like smoke bomb or something and leg it out. He tries to sort of
he escapes somehow, but
because Clark holds him up against the wall, doesn't he? And then he pulls the
cowl
off.
Go.
No, I think just Clark holds him against the wall to keep him still. He's like, whoa, and then he pulls the thing off or whatever. I think Bruce does something like Bruce does something, and Clark's reaction is just grab the mask and pull.
I think he tries to shock him, to tase him.
And he rips it off, and Bruce panics like crazy and escapes because he's like, oh god. So Superman's he's not going to go after him. He doesn't care. He's like, that was weird. What's that about? Was that Bruce Wayne? Oh, probably.
Well, no, yeah, he knows he is because he threatens him. He threatens him saying, like, I'm trying to work out what the better headline is going to be. Batman attacks reporter or Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Oh god! And then he keeps the cowl and cape. And at the start of issue 5, we see this issue 5 is sort of him trying out being a superhero.
So it's like Batman sort of gives him the idea to be like, well, what if I did this in the day and wasn't such a creep about it?
and he's got like I don't think he's using Batman's cowl, but he's got kind of like a cowly thing with aviator goggles.
I think it's implied that it is Batman's cowl.
But it's definitely his cape.
Yeah.
Because it's all like pointy at the end and torn at where he ripped it. And it's just like, oh god. He's trying to figure out how to deal with the whole being who he is thing. When does he have the confrontation with Lex? Is it at the end of that issue?
Yeah. Yes, because that's the Parasite.
Parasite. That was a scene that Max Landis described about 2 years ago when he first mentioned he'd been given the green light, and it was a scene he always wanted to write. And it's brilliant because he basically just throws Parasite into Luther's office after finding out that Luther's involved and goes like, "You did this," and Luther's like, "Well done, dumbass. Like, what now? Like, what now?
You can't prove it.
If you can't prove it, and hey, if I had created that, don't you think I would have completely covered my tracks and removed any connection to my creating of that? Because I think I would do if I'd have done that. Oh, by the way, you just damaged my property." And does he? I don't think he does the phone moment. I think no, he doesn't, does he? Because I remember thinking, oh, he didn't do that in his original thing. He said there was a thing of like he takes a photo of him on his phone and he goes, "I have a picture of your face, so I could probably find out who you are now. You need to turn around and get the book." In the book, instead, it's more like what you're going to do is you're going to go to the press downstairs and you're going to tell them that you apprehended this monster and you brought it to me because you knew I had the resources to deal with it and contain it.
The similar confrontations.
Oh, it's so good. It's like, wow. It basically is a hard lesson of do not underestimate Lex Luthor.
There's similar confrontations in that and Birthright.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get them conflated because basically the same thing happens in both books.
God, it's so good.
But yeah, it's
like,
it's pretty great.
You can't deal with Lex Luthor. He has thought of everything. You need to learn some incredibly basic shit that you've overlooked before you even try and confront him again.
Too idealistic.
It's so good. And then issue 6 is I keep forgetting the other mate's name, so I feel really bad about that. But it's Pete Ross and another friend of his from Smallville visiting to check up on him, and it's this beautiful story of them sort of this clash of friends because it's a mix of them feeling like Clark, like they can never amount to something like him, but at the same time they're scared for him and they want to make sure he's okay. And at the same time, it's this whole thing of like it's the peer pressure thing, and it's the comparing their own lives. It's just this really, like, I cried reading the end of that issue.
Well, because what happens at the end
really
of that,
really sad.
It's not just that; it's what happens when he has a grump and runs away.
Yeah.
Tries to fly to the moon.
Yeah.
And gets intercepted by 2 Green Lanterns, Abin Sur and Sinestro.
Yep.
Or is it Sinestro or is it Tom Array?
I think it might be Tom Array. No, I can't remember. I remember Abin Sur because I was like,
Abin Sur.
Oh my god! So Hal's not happened yet.
Hal's not Green Lantern yet because Abin Sur's still alive and patrolling the sector. And they're like, you can't leave this planet. It's not ready. It's not ready yet. So we're keeping it safe,
dude. We're like, get
back down there.
Based on a scan, we figure you're
Krypton, huh?
you're from somewhere else. This is not how this works.
Get back down there.
Can we also point out the delight of the other Smallville dudes in the flat? Like, be like, is that Batman's cowl?
Yeah,
because he's kept it. It's like this is clearly some time has passed between the last couple of issues and this one.
I think he's in his costume now. I think.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. He's in
the blue and red.
Yeah. It's in like I don't know if it's like the final, but it's in like near. It's like he's about to be done, and he offers a brilliant explanation. Is that the issue illustrated by Jock as well? I think that one.
No, it's the last one that's Jock.
Yeah,
because it's the fight.
Because that's another beautiful thing about this book. Different artist for each book.
Yeah,
and it's so good. He offers an explanation as to why people don't recognise Clark Kent as Superman. Because they say like, is it the glass? I think even Pete Ross says something like, "What do your glasses have? Like, do they hypnotise people or something? Or what is it?" And he's like, "No, he's just like people." See me and they'll meet me for the first time and occasionally they'll look at me like and what they do is they'll come up to me and they'll go, "Hey, you look just like Superman." And he's just like, "Oh wow, really? Oh okay, thanks very much, I guess." He's a handsome guy. And that's it. Like that is it. Because no one is ever going to go, "You're Superman." They're gonna go, "You look a bit like Superman." Do I?
Thanks.
Do you think so?
Cheers, chum.
And I think at that point as well, I think he's even walking around without his glasses on because he's like, and then he sort of takes them off in that frame. And he's like, "Oh wow, do I? Oh great!" It's so good. I don't want to say too much about the last issue because I think it's worth building up to, especially because like the threads of it kind of peak in issue 6.
Just go and read it, you dumb bastiches.
Yeah. American Alien. I'm so glad you've had the chance to finally read it all.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's great, isn't it? And I think you summed it up quite nicely as you said that you've only just read it, but you already are seeing it as like one of the definitive.
It's a definitive take on Superman.
Like if you are recommending books to people, that's
Right.
like one of the 5 books you will go.
American
if you want to read
Alien.
about this character, read this.
American Alien, Birthright, All-Star Superman, Red Sun.
And I'd also say Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever to the Man of Tomorrow.
Oh no, do you know what? Usually, if people ask for a jumping on point, if they don't know much about the characters at all, I say go for Earth 1.
I've not read Earth 1 yet.
The JMS Superman book is great. It's very filmic.
I'd give him Birthright.
It's like if a Marvel Netflix show was suddenly about Superman, but you could edit it for a TV movie version that was suitable for kids. Like it's got that kind of world building, but you know, young readers could read it, but it's written with like teenagers and adults in mind. But oh man, it's so good.
I've read Batman Earth 1. I wasn't massively keen on the first one.
This is Jeff Johns, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I am steadily growing more and more wary of Jeff Johns' decisions.
Extraordinary!
Good call. That was odd.
Jeff Johns is inconsistent lately. Although it is mainly his
word of the week.
Tell me
Brought
about
to
it.
you by the letter.
It is his vision that's kickstarted DC Universe Rebirth. So
okay.
you know, things are getting better over at the distinguished competition.
Bit by bit.
So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Jeff Johns, I'm not in love with Jeff Johns as a writer, but he has done some pretty great stuff.
Yeah, he wrote Aquaman, start of Aquaman New 52.
Yeah,
and I really dug that. Like that's the only Aquaman I own, and I'm glad I own it. I own the first 8 issues.
The
First 2
Rebirth
arcs.
stuff's good. The Rebirth stuff's worth checking out. So keep an eye out for that when the trades pop.
Speaking of pop, like this, what else we got? Because I think I'm riling up now toward the main.
I think that's it. I think we
we're
haven't really got.
have to do it.
So there's a couple of news stories that kind of
should we
surround.
Let's just hit the bloody ball here
Right.
out of the park. Let's start our discussion with Suicide Squad. Now, if you've not seen our review of Suicide Squad, it's over on my YouTube channel on Official CDJ, so you can look that up if you want, but we'll give you a basic summary right now in a little words. My opinion. At first, I was afraid. I was petrified. No, I was just disappointed in it, and I thought it was incredibly... It was too safe to be a shocking bad guy movie. It was too bland to be an interesting comic book movie. It feels like the early to mid 2000s of comic book movies has suddenly been brought back, and that standard is acceptable now as far as Warner Brothers is concerned. And it just isn't. Waste of a bunch of good characters. Absolute evisceration of one particularly excellent character who is suddenly reduced to some kind of weird Halloween gimmick. I'm sure Hot Topic are going to make a lot of money based off of this film, but they're the only people who are going to benefit. 2 stars. That's me. Matthew, you had a special word that summed up this movie.
Pants.
You've got 2 special words that sum up this movie.
Inconsistent pants.
What are they?
Patchier than my old bed shorts.
Even Rupert the Bear's like, nah. There are too many checks. I can't deal with it.
It's
That
just
racist bear.
because I sat there and I
Too
watched
many
it and I
checks.
had an alright time.
Mm.
And came out of it going.
I think our alright time mostly was due to the fact we went to a midnight showing. We were in
Yeah.
a room full of other people who, when it finished, who all went,
There's a lot of disappointed faces coming out of those screenings. Because there was 4 screenings of it on at the
that
cinema
night,
we
yeah,
went
there
to.
was an IMAX, there was an IMAX 3D, because they've got 2 IMAX screens.
No, they've only got the one.
Oh, there's the one. So
Yeah.
it would have been an IMAX 3D, a 3D, and 2 2D showings. And we went into one of the 2D showings.
A lot of disappointed faces coming out of those. It's just not very good.
I think the best reaction it had on that night from people was people who were like, "Yeah, it's alright, I had fun." It's like, right, but as you said before, you've got a chum who's sort of your barometer for DC movies.
He's not seen it yet though.
Okay, interesting.
I have another chum who
like his reaction was like,
who
know.
enjoyed it, but again, when I spoke to him about it, had all the same problems I had with it, but enjoyed it.
So
I'm like, oh.
that's fair. Again,
Yeah.
like if you,
I mean,
if
hey,
you enjoy it, more power to you.
I enjoyed the Independence Day Resurgence. It's shit. It's absolutely terrible. But there's something about it which meant that I enjoyed it regardless. And I guess people are getting that out of the DC Universe smoothies?
DC
Universe
Universe smoothies. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Tastes like balls. It's... People are getting something out of these movies because they really have some staunch defenders. Like, people will go to bat for these DCEU movies.
Sorry, I want Michael Keaton to voice over that campaign.
Smells like balls.
Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah,
that is something that I find really odd. There's this almost, and again, this is not a generalization. I'm just talking about those loud minorities in fan groups that do this.
But
It's
generally
almost-
speaking...
it's almost like... But generally speaking, it's almost like Belieber Directioner sort of levels
Yeah.
of violent passion that seem to be more from a sense of loyalty rather than a sense of defend. Like,
Oh my god, this is the best thing in the world ever, and you have to like it. If you don't like it, you're a Philistine.
Harley Quinn's amazing! Oh my god, Harley Quinn Joker, romance goals. Oh my god, they're so amazing.
That made me vomit in my mouth. That
Yeah, fuck.
that was almost as bad as Prank Invasion.
Yeah. Ugh. I introduced Matt to Prank Invasion last night, and he now feels sad.
Oh, I've not been able to vomit hard enough since.
Hey, if you can guess my name, I'm gonna give you a quick kiss. Now watch all 3 minutes of it. Oh god. Isn't it weird how all of the random people he bumps into are all dressed like it's some kind of flashy red carpet event?
But that's a tangent. Back to Suicide Squad.
It's better than Suicide Squad.
Yes.
It's less cringy. So we weren't fans of Suicide Squad, plain and simple.
But I think there's some more to say about this because do people care about the reviews it's getting? Because it did pretty well its first weekend.
It did good business, but I will tell you why it did good business.
But it's going to have a big drop off.
I will tell you why it did good business.
Why did it do good business?
Harley Quinn's cinematic debut.
Yeah.
The return of the Joker, who even for non-comic book fans is a character draw because of previous incarnations being such a big pull. Will Smith headlining a fun action movie based on all the marketing, which
Big
people
Will,
will always
Drew
eat up.
Hill.
Aha! Everyone will come for a Will Smith in a leading role in a summer blockbuster, considering we've not had that Will Smith for about 7-8 years now. And the soundtrack won people over. That marketing and the soundtrack, especially in the last couple of months, has been amazing. The marketing of this movie has been incredible as far as a marketing campaign goes.
Yeah, those last couple of trailers actually had me interested in the movie.
Yeah, so much so that I think the cut of the film we watched was the one made by the trailer house. This is the first bit of interesting news that's come out of the behind-the-scenes story.
Well, you can tell it is because they only tell bits of stories and not the whole ones.
But that's... because
They only give you a little bit of the plot.
Yesterday I was playing... what's that tower game on Plus this month?
Tricky Towers.
Have you played it yet?
No.
It is the best freaking thing. I'm not even kidding.
on my PS4 hard drive to install any more games. I deleted a bunch of stuff.
Dude, this one's only like sort of...
I need to get 2 terabyte hard drive.
This is like a third of a gig. It's worth it. Mostly for the online play. It's like high-speed Tetris.
But I've got to start
with a weird
Arkham
wizard.
Knight.
No, you don't. With a weird wizardy, wizardy vibe, and it's mental. But I was playing that online against a few people yesterday morning whilst listening to Spotify, and the Suicide Squad soundtrack is on Spotify. The actual physical soundtrack that they released to coincide with the movie, which is a really nice selection of songs that are all brand new for the soundtrack for the film, apart from a cover of Bohemian Rhapsody by Panic at the Disco, which is, I'm going to say it, fine, because they don't stray from the original enough to A, make their mark, or B, do any damage. So it's, you listen to it and you go, I'd rather just listen to the Queen version. But at the same time, I'm not upset with this version. And, oh god, is it War? Slipping into Darkness? Slipping into Darkness.
I have no idea.
That's an older song that's on the soundtrack. But the rest of it is all new stuff, including the last track on the soundtrack is the new version, like the cover, by this group and female vocalist of I Started a Joke. And as it was playing, I went, oh god, this was part of the marketing. And I went on YouTube, and I looked back, and it was the very first trailer, the one that came from Comic-Con last year. the tone of that trailer is so different. And I remember being really intrigued based on that trailer. And I think that was the movie we were going to get. We were going to get a dark, uncomfortable, like, nasty movie.
Which David Ayer can definitely do.
Yeah. And
Whether I'd want to see that is a different matter, but he can definitely do it.
No, but I think back then we were more open, because we'd only seen Man of Steel in this universe. We didn't know what the tone of the universe was going to be
this
yet.
was before Batman vs Superman.
And we thought, so the third movie in this series is going to be a really grim, creepy movie with bad guys. And the trailer's great. Like, that's the one that made use of the whole, a different take, but of Harley going, "Are you the devil?" when she sees Amanda Waller, and like Amanda Waller's backlit and stuff, and you're like, "Ooh, what is this?"
Was that line in the movie?
Yes, but it's really brief, and it's a different take. A lot of the key lines in the trailers were reshot by the sounds of it.
A lot of Joker's lines in the trailers, not in the movie at all.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. But like even his really, really bad in the original trailer is a different cut from the one used in the film.
Yeah.
And in the original trailer, he's like grinning like a maniac, and he's like, he says, "I'm not going to kill you terribly." It's like, "Oh, I'm not going to." It's like, "What? I'm just going to hurt you."
Oh,
really, really bad.
Is Joker voice the new Bane voice?
No, because I can understand Bane in comparison. I can understand it.
Well, on the subject of that,
although Bane loses points because he mispronounces race.
On the subject of missing scenes, someone is threatening to sue Warner Brothers.
This is nuts.
Over
this is nuts.
False advertising because of deleted scenes. Reddit user Black Panther 2016 is saying that he's gonna try it through the British courts. I don't know how that'll work with Warner Brothers being an American company and all that. But he's gonna. So he's saying that because the scenes that were in the trailer weren't in the movie for quite a bit, he apparently I think he lists 4 different Joker scenes, 2 specific Katana scenes. That were in several times in the first trailer and many TV ads, but weren't in the movie. This guy travelled from Scotland all the way to London to see the film as early as he could.
Yeah.
And he wants reimbursement for all that travel money and the price of his ticket. And apparently his brother's a lawyer, but he's on Reddit, so take that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
But that's the level some of these people are being disappointed by this film by, because someone took 2 films and just mashed them together and neither of them work.
Yeah.
That being said, though, plot-wise, it's still more coherent than fucking Batman v Superman.
But it's mostly because you, as an audience member, are going, "No, hang on, this is the plot. What's going on here? What's happening?" Like you're keeping check of it for the movie. Whereas Batman v Superman, it's like it's like taking 2 different jigsaw puzzles, grabbing a handful of pieces from both, putting them in one box and giving it to someone and going, "There you go, make the puzzle." You're like, "Wait, what?" With Suicide Squad, it's all the same puzzle. It's just not a very good puzzle.
No.
That's the be-all and end-all. Watching that original trailer, the plot is what the plot was.
It's all the same
plot
puzzle.
is no different in the original version, but I think the tone was more gross and grimy.
You've just got the frame, you've got the outside bit done and a bit of the sky, and then you haven't got the rest of the pieces.
Yeah. Is the puzzle just a load of knives carefully arranged into several circles?
Oh, God.
With some baby clothes in the corner.
He's
He was asked
gnawing.
about that in an interview. They said, like, "So what's with the baby onesies in that shot?" And then Joker's lay on the floor surrounded by weapons and everything. And he was like, "Does he want a child or whatever?" And he went, "The Joker is a psycho killer." And a lot of people, serial killers and psychotic killers, will keep trophies. That's all I'm going to say. So he's implying that the Joker has either killed babies or has killed like families.
I'm pretty sure the Joker's killed babies.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, well. Again, their own interpretation. But the first thing that came to mind when you said that was No Man's Land in the comics. The death of Sarah Gordon? Sarah Essen?
Sarah Essen. That sounds about right.
Yeah, her death. At the end of that, he's in a maternity ward, just surrounded by babies, and he's basically got a gun to one of their heads, and he's confronting her, and he's never planning to hurt them. He even says it afterwards, like he was never going to hurt the babies. he throws the baby at her. As she catches the baby, he shoots her in the head. And then he walks out, not smiling, because he's just like, done. Because he obviously feels a bit weird about it, which is strange for the Joker.
It's strange for the Joker.
As he's leaving, and this morbid image then of just a bunch of babies on the floor crawling over to her, and some of them crawling on her, and one sitting in the pool of blood that's spilling out of her head. And it's like, oh God. Good God. The Joker is a really great freaking villain. In every other media.
In everything else. He's not really a character in this.
No.
Maybe they took the interpretation from Grant Morrison, A Serious House on Serious Earth, that the Joker doesn't actually have a personality. He creates himself anew every day, but just forgot to create himself anew every day and just give him no personality.
I think what's happened here is... Because Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder are the executive producers of this movie. Let us not forget
Zack Snyder!
That. They are across the 1250. They are across. If you've never seen the Zack Snyder belated media videos, go and watch them. It's a review for Sucker Punch, Man of Steel, and Batman v Superman, and they're amazing. They're across it to keep the tone, as it were. But unlike Kevin Feige over at Disney, yes, we're going to compare them. They are trying to do the same thing. We are going to make comparisons. Shut the fuck up. Unlike Kevin Feige, who makes sure that the Marvel films all have a consistent tone and style, but their own identity, but they all fit together, sometimes to the sacrifice of the creative team. We all wanted to see, and I think we all still would like to see, Edgar Wright's take on Ant-Man, but we have to agree, Ant-Man worked.
Ant-Man was pretty good.
And it worked really
pretty
well.
Damn good.
And it felt like it belonged with the rest of the movies. So, we didn't lose a great film about Ant-Man. We lost a version of that movie. That's how it is. Joss Whedon has gone away because he as a creator is obviously finding it harder to work with that machine. Although he has said he would come back to do a Black Widow movie. If they do it now, if they say, we're going to do a Black Widow movie, he says, I want to direct it.
I'd rather see a Russo brothers Black Widow movie, to be honest. I think they handle the character way better.
Well, yeah, but then again, if they're going to concentrate on Avengers, let Joss take Natasha.
No, because I think he fumbled her in Age of Ultron. I wouldn't want to see him. I wouldn't want to see...
Fair enough.
I wouldn't want to see... As much as I like Joss Whedon, I think he dropped the ball on that one.
Second Black Widow, and she's played by Sarah Michelle Gellar.
God, no. God, no. No, I don't want to see that, because Sarah Michelle Gellar wouldn't want to do it. And look at what happens when Sarah Michelle Gellar doesn't want to do things. You get Buffy Season 7.
Alright, it's the second Black Widow, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., wearing a photograph of Sarah Michelle Gellar on his face, and still a bra and catsuit. You'd watch that. Filthy bastard.
Not for 2 hours.
The point I'm making is, those films have a consistent tone, so Deborah and Zack Snyder have sort of tried to bring that to the DC movies thus far. So...
It's just a terrible tone.
They are obviously the ones who sat down with David Ayer and gone, so this is what we want to do. And I think they basically just gave David Ayer... They went, Dark Knight Returns is what we're basing all of our shit off of. So have a look at this. Oh, Frank Miller also wrote this thing called All-Star Batman and Robin. Have a look at that.
Oh, no, don't. Don't ever look at it.
But what?
It's real bad.
But the Joker appears in issue 7 of that book, and distinct traits, distinct differences between that Joker and every other version are... tattoos, dresses more like a modern mobster, not blingy, but he still has like jewelry and like brass knuckles and sort of like the slimming suits, and like he's pretty like toned and everything, and also he never smiles because Frank Miller apparently thinks that'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean even in Dark Knight Returns, the Joker doesn't smile much, but that's because he's not being the Joker until he murders everyone in the TV studio, and then he starts grinning like a lunatic.
Can't stop himself.
He can't stop himself after that point. He dies with a massive rictus grin on his face. But Frank Miller decided, obviously, when he was writing All-Star Batman and Robin, oh no, the Joker should never smile because that'd be edgy. People won't expect that. Well, what does Jared Leto's Joker have? Tattoos, a slimming body, like he's decked, like he's got abs and everything.
He's Jared Leto.
Yeah, he wears more modern mobster suits. The colours of which all seem to be based on colour schemes from The Dark Knight Returns. They're not the exact suits, even though all these freaking clickbait articles keep going, it's based on that, but no, the colour scheme is the same. But he doesn't have a white tie, he's got his shirt unbuttoned in a weird way that looks like a tie. And also, he never freaking smiles. He laughs a couple of times. That's it. That's
is that
him.
a laugh, or is that just air escaping from his dying body?
But I think that's how Jared Leto would explain it. He said, so how did you pick your laugh? And he's like, I like the idea that sort of the demon in him is escaping from his piss off. When his casting...
I'm Jared Leto and I'm touching myself over how much of an actor I am.
Let's rewind 2 years. Let's rewind.
I'm so great. How am I going to get the Oscar out of my ass?
That is hideous, and I enjoyed every second
That's
of it.
what happens. That's what Jared Leto does to himself every night.
Rewind 2 years ago. That would have been a better movie. Rewind 2 years ago to the announcement of his casting, and I think we all pretty much were like, okay, all right. I'll be interested to see where that goes. He seems like an interesting guy. He goes a bit method. He'll physically change for roles and stuff. Like, it'll be interesting to see.
I mean, he'll be an insufferable twat about it. And his
process. We didn't know that at the time.
No, we didn't know that he was going to be an insufferable twat about his process, because he's always an insufferable twat about his process.
Oh no, but we didn't know how pointless his insufferable twattishness will turn out to be.
Yeah.
As the first image of him's released, and it's the screaming image, he's topless, he's covered in tattoos, he's got the grill, he's got purple gloves on, and everyone went, ugh, and that was DC going, happy 75th birthday, the Joker, was basically where they did that.
Here's an update.
So it was last year, earlier in the year, here's a picture, and we all went, what? No. To the point where a couple of days later, David Ayer confirmed, no. You're all getting it wrong. This is our tribute to the Joker. This image, and he has said this image is our 75th anniversary homage to the Joker. Like, those tattoos are sort of like representing elements of himself, as the jester and the ha and everything. Like, that's what this is about, and he's screaming because it kind of looks like the Killing Joke image, and that's what we've gone for.
No, it doesn't.
No, the laughing ha like.
Yeah.
But he's not smiling or laughing, so it doesn't really work. But that was them going, like, he's sort of in that pose, and you've got the bats on him, so that's a nod to Batman. There's a little bird on him, that's a nod to Robin, and damaged across the head is just a thing. But then the first images early last summer began to leak. The first one being a blur. Like, the first one, I think, was an image of Jared Leto with green hair, but not with the makeup on. Because I guess he dyed his hair green during the process. Yeah, because he did some gigs and he had green hair, didn't he? Jared Leto showing someone on his phone an image of him in costume, and that was the first image of him we got, and people were like, he's definitely got the grills. And then we saw the images of him and Margot Robbie filming a scene we never saw, with them arguing on the street in what looks like...
She's in a regular...
Well, based on when we watched it the other day, I noticed it looks like that's the scene before the vat of chemicals scene. Like, it looks like that's the same night, because she's in the same outfit, like the blue jeans, blue shirt, brown shoes, glasses, and he's in the same outfit. So it looks like this is like the last kind of argument, confrontation they have before he's like, right, prove that you're going to be mine.
Would you die for me?
No, that's too easy. Will you live for me? Yes. You know what would make that slightly less odd a scene and a little more informative? If she was clearly brainwashed or something at that moment.
Well, he did put the electrodes into her head.
But this is a different night. So if she was,
it'd be after that point.
Yeah, but if she was playing it a bit more like she was sort of drugged up, or I'm not saying like hypnotized, but something like that. Because at least then you could be like, oh god, like he completely toyed with her and played with her mind to the point where she did this. And she's, you know what I mean? But they weren't interested in telling an interesting story. They shat out cliff notes of Mad Love and...
completely missing the point
of Mad Love.
And their relationship.
Yeah. Oh god. Well, that's the thing. Red Letter Media summed it up in their review of Suicide Squad. They said, the Joker isn't in this film. Harley's boyfriend is in this film. Harley Quinn isn't in this film. The Joker's girlfriend is in this film. And it's like, oh, wow. Yeah, you're right.
Like, that's not
those characters.
That's not what those characters are.
Now,
yes, they're in a relationship, but it's not...
If that's the interpretation they want to do, fair enough, that's your right, it's your adaptation, but at least have them still be Harley Quinn and the Joker.
Do not have the balls.
If you want him to be in love with her, like, genuinely, great.
Yeah.
Do that if you want to, but have him still be the Joker.
And don't have the balls, the gall,
the unmitigated gall
to invoke mad love in imagery and dialogue, and then replace it with something subpar. If you're going to invoke a work that important to those characters, and that well-loved,
yeah,
you have to bring the thunder when it comes to actually what you are actually going to do. You can't just wet fart it.
Like the New 52 version of Harley's origin,
Yeah,
which they adapt with the vat of chemicals. That's New 52 Harley.
They just love sticking her in chemicals, don't they?
Why?
I don't know.
What's more interesting about Harley is that Harley makes a choice. Like, here's the thing: people will go like, "Well, it doesn't make her a strong role model if she just bows down to like a man. Like, isn't that just really typically sexist?" No. Here's the thing: human beings are human beings. There is such a thing called love. Sometimes it is reciprocated by the person that you can fall in love, and sometimes the person you fall in love with reciprocates it, and they fall in love with you too. And that's how it works. Sometimes it's, I'm sorry, real life, sometimes that doesn't happen. In the case of Harley Quinn and the Joker, Harley Quinn, intelligent fucking person, but also arrogant and selfish and like her entire reason for working at Arkham isn't because as a psychiatrist she feels she can do the most good there. Her entire reason for working at Arkham is because she wants to write an expose. These are the rock star nutters. She wants to write a book on a tell-all book on them. That's the majority of the origins, and definitely Mad Love and everything. That's what she's going to do. She's going to sell it. She's going to be like, I cured the Riddler. I made Two-Face not a psycho. Aren't I great? And here's the dirty details in my book. That's what she wants to do. And she gets access to, because in every other medium apart from the Suicide Squad movie, this makes sense, she gets access to the Clown. And she's like, oh my god, he's the biggest. Like, he's the rock star of mentally unstable people. I've got to do this. She meets him, and the Joker sees that hunger in her. So he panders to her. He plays her like a fucking fiddle. He gives her what
they played us like a damn fiddle.
He gives her juicy gossip. He gives her a story of his childhood. He tells her these things. He lowers her guard. She starts to go, oh wow, I guess he is kind of like a bit of a tortured soul. Oh, I didn't expect this. I thought I was just going to write the details on all the things he's done. And okay, and she starts to like him, and he starts to win her over, and they begin to flirt. And she starts to become incredibly attractive, because here's the thing, he was the David Bowie of psychos to her.
The Thin White Duke of Death.
Exactly. Like, he was the rock star. Like, he was her target. She still holds him on a pedestal. The problem is, it goes from her idolising the idea of him to idolising him. She falls for him.
Yeah.
She falls in love with this guy. It is a big mistake. You find out that from various other things and various stories later, Harley hadn't been in a big long-term relationship at this point. She always overanalyzed people. She could always figure out her boyfriends and make them realise what was wrong with them and that she didn't give a shit about them. Like, she would do that. That was her. She was too psychoanalytical. Suddenly, she's got the most fascinating person she's ever met. Evil, horrible, murderous, but fascinating. So she becomes obsessed with him. She falls hard for him. It is the ultimate high school crush made flesh.
Mm-hmm.
He takes advantage of that. Now, some people interpret it as he does kind of like her and wants to keep her around. Because he's like, I kind of like her. I think she's alright.
It's easy on the eyes.
Yeah. Other people interpret it as he has a slight affection for her. Maybe she is the one human connection he's got. But he still won't treat her like a princess.
I think he feels more like she's a pet.
My interpretation is like the animated series interpretation, which is she's a sexy dog. Like, she's a cute lap dog who he can also occasionally shag if he wants. That's basically his outlook. He's like, if I fancy getting my rocks off, I've got Harley. Not a bad person to do it with. Look at her, she's fucking gorgeous. But ultimately, she is a toy in my toy box. She's an exploding Jack in the Box. She's an electric hand buzzer. Like, I could throw a smoke bomb at Batman, or I could say, Harley, go get him! And she'll do that, and she'll get her ass handed to her, and it'll be hilarious. But I'll run away. Because in several episodes, like Joker's Millions and stuff, he gets away. Like, because he leaves her to suffer the consequences. Because he doesn't really care about her. He might have an affection for her, but it's either as a pet or as someone who can get him laid. Because for all we know, let's face it, the Joker's biggest love is Batman. That's his biggest love. But Batman isn't going to shag him. So maybe he has a use for Harley in that way. That's up for interpretation. That's up for whatever you want. In Brian Azarella's Joker, he makes a thing of it. Maybe Harley is literally just sex and a person whose shoulder he can cry on in his quiet moments when he's not surrounded by people and he actually lets out some stress and worry and then goes back to being a psycho and moving on with it. But that's their relationship.
I think...
In this movie, they fuck. That is their relationship.
I think that there is also an interesting interpretation of Harley to be had post-Joker.
Yeah.
Because then it's about her coming to terms with that trauma and that invasion and the way that she was treated.
There are stories to tell there.
And that's what they were doing in Birds of Prey with her and Ivy.
Yeah.
But all they've done now in modern DC comics is just turn him into Deadpool.
She's Deadpool, and at some point in the past, she and the Joker had a history, apparently.
Yeah, that's basically what she is now.
That is her entire character.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because again, believe it or not, I was working on this before my laptop died. God damn it! So I'm gonna have to start from scratch. But I'm doing a hypothetical video soon, basically, because I've started dotting out a plot line, like a pitch version of how you could, in the same style as Belated Media's What If Episode 1 was really good, where you basically take the premise, the majority of the characters and everything, so that financially this could still be the movie they would have made and using sets and everything, but my version of how you could change that film just here and there to make it work a lot better and be in the spirit of those characters in the book. Because again, another fundamental problem with Suicide Squad, and I think the reason why it leaves a lot of people dissatisfied as well, the people who were like, yeah, but the people who weren't thinking so much about the techniques used to make it, but more about the experience, those who've come out of it going, I just was... The film is doomed from day one, because we said this in the review. It's a film about a team of bad guys going on a suicidal reconnaissance mission of some kind. But because it's Hollywood, they're going to turn out to be misunderstood bad guys. That's the story.
It's not going to have the teeth to do the story justice.
Yeah. Like a good version of Suicide Squad, for example, sticking to it would... This isn't in my one, but like a good interpretation, for example, would be like have a lead-in character. Maybe one of the villains has that kind of arc. The rest of them go full-on rogue toward the end. Or they save the world where they need to, and then they piss off.
Yeah. Like
they break out and they go off and do their thing, and maybe you have one of them, like Deadshot, turn around to Waller and be like, no, I'm not going to do that. You are giving me a chance to do this legitimately, and I'm going to give it a go. I don't necessarily agree with what you're saying, but if you can sort my life out, I'll lead you frickin' Task Force X a few more times. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like you have one bad guy sort of go, alright, and put his hands out again at the end and be like, you're just going to get hold of me again anyway, you're going to punish me, I may as well do this. And then you have that character be the carryover.
You're just going to tip off Batman again.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Like, just, in my version, tiny spoiler alert for a video that may never see the light of day, but hopefully might.
It will.
My version has a character who is... I'm still figuring out whether it should be Rick Flag or not, but you have somebody who is with the military side of the operation overseeing it all. They're our window into the story. So they take us in. We have a character who is not in the squad, but they're sort of our POV character at the start, and the one who has the option to have the good guy arc, the good guy story arc. Like, they not become prominent per se. It's not like they're the ones who do the killing blow that saves the day. But, you know what I mean? We just have a window in. So we get to meet the squad, we get to like them, we get to know who they all are, but we still all don't get the compromise of them being people with a heart of gold. That's the problem with the movie. It's always going to end on kind of they weren't true to themselves kind of note. unless you set up from the beginning that they're all misunderstood, which this film does with a couple of them. So it's not about bad guys then. Remember, we're the bad guys. No, you're not.
They are the bad guys.
You're just people. Also, in my version, you cast the Joker. You only see him in a blurred Harley flashbacks during a roundup of who she is at the beginning. Then he's not in the movie at all. And throughout the movie, you've got Deadshot basically saying to her you are brilliant. Why are you waiting for this? Why are you still doting on this guy? He's not coming back for you. Why are you doting on him? What's the point? And she doesn't quite see it. But maybe she gets to the point where she starts to believe in herself a bit more. By the end of the story, you have her broken out of the facility. Because the Joker has found out where she's being kept because the news footage of this thing. And he takes her back and she's like, you cared. And he's like, no, I just don't like other people playing with my toys. Because then the plot of your sequel is Joker as the antagonist, and Waller sending Task Force X to recover or kill Harley Quinn because she has information about what they're up to and she could expose it. That should be the sequel. Joker is the antagonist. Harley Quinn is the target. Task Force X are sent after her.
Which could still be the sequel.
It could still be the sequel, but I don't think they're that clever. And I don't think it will get a sequel necessarily now. I think what they'll do is they will bleed these characters into the other movies now instead.
I don't know, because it's doing better than BVS did.
It is. Have you noticed those news reports keep going?
It's doing better than...
Well, those news reports are going it opened bigger than Deadpool. And it's yeah, because it's a PG-13 movie.
Yeah. It opened bigger than Guardians.
Yeah. But we get, again,
Harley
Quinn's first movie. Guardians is one of those where, by the second week, it was the king of the box office.
It was huge.
And its DVD sales were phenomenal and everything. But, yeah, I don't know. So
it's not had the big second week drop-off that BVS had yet. But there's still time.
There's still time. Side note, Ghostbusters is never going to make back its money, and the sequel has basically been put on sort of hold now forever. However, they're going ahead with Exoforce, the animated series, which is run by Ivan Reitman, and the next project may be an animated movie directed by Ivan Reitman that will be out in about 5 years' time. So, Ghostbusters fucked itself over, but the franchise may continue in an Ivan Reitman-controlled environment.
But you know what franchise is seemingly unstoppable in the face of no success?
Go on.
DCEU.
Yes, let's end with a bit of chat about the DCEU because good God, good hairy God.
Wonder Woman needs to be good at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up some of your tweets as well during this chat too because you guys sent me your opinions on.
It needs to be good.
DCEU online again. If you want to say some stuff that we'll talk about next week, bigdamcontact@gmail.com.
Because Man of Steel was all right.
Man of Steel,
I
really disliked it. But I could see why people liked it, so I didn't have a problem with it as much. It was yeah, I get it. There is stuff that works in there. It was not for me, but there is stuff that works.
Yeah, the further away they get from Birthright, the worse it gets.
Yes. So I tweeted the other day, after Man of Steel, BVS, and Suicide Squad, this is after my second watch of Suicide Squad, Chris, why would you do that to yourself? I've got an Odeon Limitless card and my girlfriend wanted to watch it out of morbid curiosity, leave me alone. I went to see Suicide Squad for the second time. I felt horrible, so we went to watch Finding Dory afterwards. I felt much better. Finding Dory's great. It's like Monsters University in that it doesn't need to exist, but it's worth a watch. Because there is some really, really, really nice emotional stuff in there. It should have been called Losing Dory, in my opinion. So you could have Finding Nemo and Losing Dory.
That's horrible.
No, because she gets lost in the story. So that's the story.
Yeah, but never mind.
She doesn't die. Finding Nemo could be God. After Man of Steel, BVS, and Suicide Squad, Christopher Johnson tweeted, I am now much less excited for Wonder Woman, which is true. I'm less excited for it now, and completely disinterested in Justice League. That is not an exaggeration. If this is the universe these characters inhabit in cinema, I don't want to watch Justice League now.
I'm still more optimistic about both of those.
Amy Kelly _01 said, "Nah, don't give up that easily." I feel like I feel like a battered housewife. I feel like actual Harley Quinn. I keep going. Maybe the next one will be great.
Fool me once. Shame on
me. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me.
Fool me thrice.
Shame on Snyder.
Like what do you...
Fool me thrice, I carry Zack Snyder naked through the village going, shame! That's like how far we've come.
How are you... Like, what are you clinging on for?
I don't know.
Like...
Rachel May Meaden, lovely Rachel May Meaden, give her a follow, she's brilliant. Rachie May on Twitter says, my feelings on the DCEU can be summed up thus. If they fuck up Wonder Woman, I'm a come for them like, and she put a gif of Wonder Woman smacking some fool with a sword from the trailer. Because that's the thing.
They might well, we'll see.
Visually looks interesting, but all of them have looked interesting in some way to me prior to seeing it. BVS less so than Man of Steel and Suicide Squad, but I can't do it. I can't be excited for these movies anymore. But... I can't be excited for them. What I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to watch them, I'm going to give them all a chance, but I can't emotionally invest in them now because I'm just going to either be upset or angry or pissed off. I want to come out of Wonder Woman I want to come out of Wonder Woman going, oh my god, that was incredible, well done.
Well, I feel like up to now, no one who makes them has been emotionally invested in them, so why should you?
Yeah, oh god, yeah. But I've got a feeling I'm going to come out of Wonder Woman and I'm going to just go, why am I watching these? Why am I doing it to myself? I have faith in Patty Jenkins. I think it visually, again, from the trailers looks great, but I can't go off of that anymore. I cannot go off of that anymore.
We've been stung too many times.
Too many damn times. Type 40, I'm assuming that's a reference to the TARDIS, on Twitter, says, after Suicide Squad, it makes me have hope for the DCEU. So they enjoyed Suicide Squad, they got something out of it. And like you say, people have enjoyed it.
It was better than BVS.
Yeah, I think like we talked about this the other day, like we said, if we had to pick one of the three that is the least shite, you went Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I kind of feel Suicide Squad, but only because the humour of some of the characters tipped me over towards Suicide Squad a bit more.
Even after the tremendous nosedive quality that Man of Steel takes at the end, there's still hope for the next one to be good. And
it's not an S.
It isn't an S.
On my planet, this means hope. Well, on our planet, it's an S. That is my favourite and sort of only fondly remembered scene.
There are some really good moments in Man of Steel.
Because it's the only scene where I'm like, oh, there's Superman and Lois Lane.
Like,
look at them, having a conversation.
It's more... There is a moment...
Man of Steel is the less flawed of the three movies.
Yeah. It starts off pretty good.
It has big flaws, but it also has really good points to it.
There is a moment in between... I can't pinpoint it exactly, but somewhere in between him flying for the first time and Zod arriving, there's a moment where that movie could become great.
Yeah.
But it just makes all the wrong decisions and gets bad.
It smacks itself in the face with a world engine.
But it could have been so good.
Lewis Gennery says, I liked Man of Steel, and I haven't seen BVS or Suicide Squad, but I still want to see them. The fact you haven't seen that yet, though, Lewis, is interesting. Like, I can't say what you're thinking, sir.
I mean, BVS is out on DVD and Blu-ray now.
I do wonder if people have held back because of audience reception.
Well, people held back on seeing it in the cinema because of audience reception. Yeah, Word of mouth killed that film.
Word of mouth.
Stone dead.
Assassinated that film. And rightly so. Like, we shouldn't support this shit.
Fucking garbage.
It's you know. What can they do now? I've seen a few people, including like Comic Book Girl 19 has done a good video on this, where she's basically gone, it's not too late to start over. It isn't.
I don't think they need to start over. I think
they need to invite people in who give a shit.
Which they've done with Jeff Johns taking a more active role.
Jeff Johns oversaw elements of Suicide Squad, and his first active role is with Justice League.
Yeah. So,
but I don't know if it's too late. I mean, it's when people say to you, "Oh, you've got to watch this show." It's sort of slow, but it gets really good at season 6. I'm like, I don't want to have to. I want episode 1 to grab me. I want episode 2 to convince me, and I want episode 3 to make me go, I'm in. I will keep watching this now. I don't want to have to plow through freaking 5 seasons of something before I give a shit. I don't want to have to do that. And this is the movie equivalent. If Wonder Woman's great, but that's like 1 out of 4 ain't bad. No, that's bad. That's bad. We shouldn't have taken 4 movies to get to and then Justice League has got to keep the momentum going if Wonder Woman's good. It's got to be nothing short of fucking spectacular to make me go, alright, I might come and see your 6th movie. Because at the minute,
even the
I am a
Defenders are going to drop
reluctant
off.
viewer of the upcoming movies.
But it's not about quality either, because look at how much fucking money those Transformers movies make. They make so much money, and they're all shit. And I say that as a man who's looking at a shelf full of Transformers now.
Seriously, the amount of Decepticons and Autobots in this room is ginormous, and yet I am sat next to a man who couldn't give a shit about the Transformers movies.
I mean,
because
the Transformers movie,
Transformers
the good one
movie,
from 1986, is amazing,
yes,
and it's getting a 30th anniversary release this year.
Oh, sweet!
A nice new
all those
Blu-ray
sweet
print.
80s sounds on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's getting a nice old new restoration treatment and all that good stuff.
Dare to be stupid.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
But those Michael Bay movies, again, like taking one franchise and adapting it into a live-action movie franchise, a bit like DC are doing, and it misses the point of everything that makes it great.
They feel like the mid-2000s comic book movie adaptation films.
Exactly.
Because the first one was. The first one was a 2007 movie based on an 80s property. The first one is probably the most watchable of the bunch, but that's because it's watchable. Not because it's worth watching. Not because it's an amazing adaptation. Not because it gets what makes this property appealing.
They design all the Transformers to make them look more realistic. But
for those listening at home, Matthew was doing air quotes.
I'm doing scare quotes. But like,
welcome to Big Damn Cast.
The
for
pleasure, like the for me, like the pleasure of the Transformers designs as toys is the colourful blockiness of them. I mean, even the modern ones that I've got over on the shelf there, they're from the Generations line from like 2014, 2015.
Yeah,
they're really poseable and they look cool. Like they're not bricks like the original toys.
These like the purple guys and everything. Like they're these bright. Like
green, Decepticons are purple and green, and Autobots are blue and yellow and white, and
they're not just a swirling silver cloud with occasional splashes of blue somewhere.
And they're recognizable silhouettes. There's no recognizable silhouettes in the Transformers movie. There's I suppose you've got Optimus Prime's horns, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Like there's no Megatron doesn't have a recognizable silhouette. Look at the original cartoon Megatron. Dude, big gun on his arm. That's Megatron.
You could backlight him like Spielberg in one of his dirtiest pornographic I love backlighting things moments, and you go, oh my god, that's Megatron.
I mean, that original Transformers cartoon has not aged well, but look at the character models for it, and they're all clearly identifiable. You know who everyone is because everyone's got a really clean, recognizable design. The stuff in the movies, over-designed, overdone in the name of being realistic and gritty and edgy, which is exactly what DC have done with their entire movies. Everything's gritty, edgy. Suicide Squad is super over-designed. Mm-hmm. Like the Superman costume from both of the movies, and they remove the pants. You can't take the pants away. I mean,
but we got rid of them because people would take him more seriously.
The thing with the
pants, the flying alien from space.
Well, who
disguises himself by wearing glasses.
They go back to the whole circus strongman thing, so it's not really a cultural touchstone anymore. But that's what they come from.
But also, again, it just casts an image. It casts a striking image.
Yeah.
You don't look at it as like he's wearing his underpants outside of his pants. You look at it as like, oh yeah, Superman's costume. He's got red brief kind of thing and red boots, and then there's a yellow belt.
They're not underpants. They're
underpants.
Underpants. The circus strongmen wore tights, then they wore the shorts over the top because
wrestlers. Yeah, it's like a freaking wrestler. No one's going on WWE and saying, "Yeah, can we get them out of the little pants and just have them in trousers?"
There's a great video on NerdSync which explains why Superman wears the shorts.
Yeah,
and they got rid of him now, and it cost him Jim Lee said he redesigned it to sort of streamline it and still make it recognisable as Superman, but it's just a bit too much blue. Because you look at the Superman, you've got the big red cape with the yellow symbol, you've got the yellow and red symbol on the chest, and then you've got 2 bits of blue punctuated by a splash of red right in the middle of him.
Yeah.
On his crotch.
Giggity.
Nice. But then the new one, it's just all blue, and it's just, it misses... I feel like it just needs that splash in the middle to just sort of split the blue.
That was what he looked like in issue, like his first story in Action Comics, isn't it? Action Comics 1. He's all blue. He's got blue gloves and a red cape.
No.
I thought he was all blue.
Actually, original Action Comics Superman is Superman.
Or was that just like the original doodles of him? I think I'm seeing
like,
the original doodles in my
head.
head.
Yeah, original Action Comics 1 Superman is Superman. Blue suit, red boots, red trunks, red cape, small shield, because it's before they have the formal big S logo.
Yeah,
but he's still got
because he's got it's like the yellow triangle.
It's less stylized
with a red S in it. Yeah,
but it is it's Superman.
A look. It's a silhouette.
And that look is iconic. And taking that red out of it, it just doesn't feel.
It's bland.
Yeah, it looks a bit bland.
Superman's really bland though. Right, well you've just made it worse then. If you believe that,
I think
by making him look bland, his boots are black and red. And
but taking that red out, taking those red trunks out, it makes it just too blue. It just makes him too monochromatic in that sense.
Too blue. What else? I'm trying to think. Well, Joker. I've recently opened a book that I've not read since I picked it up about 6 years ago, which is when DC released a couple books. I think it was a Superman, a Batman, a Joker one, and maybe Catwoman, I think, called The Greatest Stories Ever Told.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically just these compilation books. They've all got Alex Ross covers, and it's just a selection of stories with that character as the focus throughout it. All on that slightly cheaper paper stock as well, which they've recently started doing the series called Batman Arkham, and it's about each villain. I think there's Riddler, Killer Croc, Scarecrow, and Two-Face are out, and I really want to buy them. Can't afford them at the moment, but they smell like old books and it's amazing. I love them. They did it with the Nightfall volumes. It's just like, oh.
Oh yeah, I used to have two of those, but I've got them digital now, so
they're just, I like the big chunky squishy paper.
Yeah, too big for my house though.
But they did these. Too many books.
Too many books.
But they did these volumes called
Too many books.
Greatest Stories Ever Told. It's about a character, and I've got the Joker one.
Of course you have.
And I'm rereading through it, and if you go on my Instagram, I posted my favourite picture from the one about the Joker's greatest boners. No context. And I've just got up to Laughing Fish, which I realised I'd never read before. I'm reading The Laughing Fish, which is late 70s. They're coming out of the gimmicky era for the villains. The villains are being a little less silly now. They're being a little darker.
Is it Neil Adams?
Not yet. It's the guys, the team just before Neil and Denny take over. And, oh my god, the Joker looks like this scrawny looking dude in a well-pressed purple suit, spats, long coat, broad, wide-brimmed hat. Just looks amazing. He looks so good. And again, it's a silhouette. He's a clown. He's got a big collar. He's got a jester on a cane. He's got massive red mouth. Big wispy green hair sticking out of the hat. And he looks like a clown. And he's intimidating and he's creepy and he cuts a silhouette. Jared Leto was Lil Wayne with the sepia turned up and some green coloured on his hair. And that was it. Look at a picture of Jared Leto's Joker, guys, on Google. Now look at a picture of Lil Wayne. Joker was Lil Wayne. That was it. He was Lil Wayne. Who was on the soundtrack, annoyingly? Just to make the full circle complete.
So basically...
Is it too late for them to change?
No, because what they should do is they should hire us.
Oh no.
And we'll run the DCEU.
I don't want to sit in an office surrounded by pictures and artwork from those movies. I'd come in and do you know what? If we do that, if that ever happened, they're like, look, we're going to get you two seem to know a lot about shit that doesn't really matter.
You two people who have no experience doing this. You two unknowns from sunny England.
Let's paint the scene. So it's the board meeting and they're waiting for us to arrive, right? Yeah. They've got a long meeting room over at Warner Brothers. It's the DC meeting room and they've got some artwork on the walls. They've got Affleck's Batman and stuff. And everyone's looking moody and shit. And everyone's in the room. And Jeff Johns is there as well. Zack Snyder and all that team are there. And suddenly, the assistant comes in and says, Chris arrived, Jeff. They're like, oh, it should be a moment. Someone left this package for you though, Jeff. Oh, right. And he opens it. It's a little orange box. And he takes the bow. And he opens it. And there's a little orange gas mask in it. With a note saying, put this on. So Jeff goes, a bit weird. He lifts it up. And suddenly the vents start to pour out this purple gas throughout the room. So Jeff Johns whacks the mask over his mouth. He breathes and he's panicking. Zack Snyder's choking and dying in front of him. Deborah Snyder's
Someone falls in a cake.
David Ayer falls into a cake. that he left his fork in, and everybody snuffs it. James Wan was late to this meeting. You didn't, right?
James Wan's not there.
But everyone else dies.
He's still more Flash director.
Or is unconscious for just to make sure this doesn't sound like a threat, because it isn't. I'm just, theoretical.
It's sleeping gas.
Everyone dies. Sleeping death. Sleep death.
Everyone sleeps the dream
He's
of
only
death.
sleeping. Then there is a pause as the doors burst open. You and I burst in purple suits. Lawrence. Boom, 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 boom.
No, you see,
Dun, dun, dun. We just walk around spray painting proper DC designs all over the walls.
you joke.
We whack up a load of pictures of like Silver Age, like Barry Allen and like all these characters. We just whack them up on the walls, and then someone goes up. One of our minions dressed in black with berets and sunglasses goes to rip through a picture of Jeremy Irons' Alfred, and we just walk up to him and go, no, I kind of like that. And then we keep going. And then we eventually just sit at the table and put the world to rights.
See, I like that you went there because you went way further than I was gonna go. Because I was just gonna say, we take the scripts and I just flick through it, just reading it, going, crap. And then we get to, so clearly some Jeff Johns doctored speech about Superman being a symbol of hope. Now this is art. That's where I was going to go with it.
But you know what?
But we both went to the same
place.
place.
All right.
We both went to Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Okay, you're set up as him, you're in the suit, and I'm sat next to you in a dress with a porcelain mask.
Will you be my Alicia?
Yeah, I will sit there and talk in a suddenly British accent, and all will be well.
I think we have to end it there, really. Where can we go from there?
To Warners! Guys and girls, if you want to get in touch with us, you know the drill. BigDamnContact@gmail.com. Of course, you can listen to us on SoundCloud and on iTunes. Leave a review if you like the show. If you don't like the show, still leave a nice review, and I'll send you a lollipop. We'll be if you listen to this week of release. We're not on YouTube yet, but we'll be back soon. And you know what? Just stay happy. Go and watch some Romero or Nicholson or Ledger. Go cleanse your palate. Do it for my sake.
Bye.
Pardon me.
Pardon me.